Ladies and gents, welcome back. Welcome back. Holy cow. It's been another week. It's been another week in this election cycle, and boy, am I glad this is the last weekend of it. Oh boy, it'd just be good to get this all over with. Hey, everybody, welcome in, welcome in. Join in the chat. Come on over, and let's get right into this. Big old cheers to everybody tonight who's got a wobbly pop. Get yourself one of them. And get on here. Come close. Come close. Come closer. Come even closer. We're going to get into this. This is what we're doing tonight. We're looking at some of the polling data. We're going to see what's happening. There's a big rally happening right now over on Vancouver Island. And I know a lot of people are over there and they're doing the stuff. And they're going to listen to the cheers and their rants and all that stuff. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to do that. Wobbly pops for all. Yeah, that's right. Get in there. Let's do something. Yeah, Johannes, I would like to get started on that. Getting on the book club thing. So I just stumbled across actually the other day. So I ordered it because I like reading books. It's one of my favorite pastimes, things to do. And this, I didn't even know this guy was writing a book. Tristan Hopper. I don't know if you know who he is. He often writes for the National Post. He wrote this book, Don't Be Canada, How One Country Did Everything Wrong All at Once. So I'm excited to read this book. Yeah, Canada, where a disabled veteran can request help installing a chairlift and be offered euthanasia instead, where a high school shop teacher can show up to work wearing a prosthetic breasts the size of beach balls and be defended by school administrators as a hero of gender expression, where health authorities hand out unlimited quantities of free opioids and wonder why the addiction crisis just keeps getting worse, where you can run over a man with his own stolen car and get bail the same day, where soldiers are allowed to sport face tattoos and green hair but don't have functioning guns or sleeping bags, where politicians have declared themselves guilty of an ongoing genocide. That's Don't Be Canada by Tristan Hopper. I'm looking forward to read it. It looks like a quick, easy read, but this is this one's gonna be a fun one. So shout out to Tristan Hopper for writing that book. Hopefully I get to have him on the show one of these days. Anyone is in his contacts, tell him I'm interested in having him on. That would be great. That would be fantastic. So get that word on out there. But let's get into some stuff. My friend Alex Zoltan, which many of you guys already know at this point. He's been he's kind of famous now. Actually, I should pull up the thing that made him famous before we get into any of this other stuff. He was he went from just a regular guy to within a year becoming a journalist and asking a question of the prime minister. But let's get into this. Alex Zoltan and his question. Let's just type in question. I'm sure it'll pop up pretty quick. G-Meister member for 34 months. Gold member, by the way, gold member. Says hit the like button. It's still free. Is everyone voting? That's a good question. Leave a comment in the chat. Are you voting? Have you already voted? Is the other question. Or are you voting? I'm voting on election day because I don't support this whole idea of voting week. I think that's where all the anomalies and weirdness happen all at the same time over the course of a week. That's one thing. Hey, Clyde, there's 10,000 people at Pierre's rally in Vancouver. It's not in Vancouver. It's on the island. Got to take the commie boat over there to get to it. But I was doing what most other people are doing during the day today, working my job. So not able to make it over there. Remember for 30 months. Member for 30 months. Canucks for Cup. Hey, Clyde, you gonna make it to Tawasin Rally tomorrow? No, that's another thing on the island. No, I have plans with the family. unfortunately. Commie boat. Yes, it is the commie boat because, well, it wouldn't be if you had any other choice, would it now? It would. You would have a choice of going at this time or on this boat or these things. No, you go and the sailings are when they happen and they're full all the time. And there's no more sailings because screw you. That's why. So I don't know why that's something that just gets to keep on happening. But you know, the people out here, they're just not encouraged. They haven't encouraged the government to maybe open it up and allow other methods of getting across to the other side. Bridge too far? No, there's no bridge. There's no bridge to Vancouver Island. No, it's the commie boat, and that's it. Unless you take an airplane. You can take an airplane or a helicopter. Returned my voting card. Gonna make it ugly. Add some more context to that. I'd love to hear that. Already voted. I'm waiting for more right-leaning, men-centric party to vote for. Well, yeah, I don't know if you'll ever find that. Not here. Give your I dragged a friend along who never voted before. That's always good. That's always good. No fun ski. Vancouver needs to bring back the bathtub races. Those were great. Those were awesome. Awesome to see lots have already voted. I'm glad to see that. I'm definitely got to see that, but I am going to be waiting. I'm going to be waiting for my opportunity. I'm sorry. I just saw something else on the thing. Where is Alex's question? The thing that made him famous. Where is he? There we are. Here we go. So let me pop this one up. G Meister gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much, G. Really appreciate that. If you just got a membership from G Meister, make sure you get in the chat and give him a big old thank you for that. Now let's get into this. I'm gonna pop up the good old picture in pictures from Stevlin Ambrose, who I haven't talked to in a while. Awesome guy. Stevlin, give me a shout sometime. It's just awesome chatting with you. The day the cops stomped out of the last Freedom Convoy supporters in Ottawa, I exiled myself from Facebook for the sake of my mental health. I still needed to vent though, so I crawled out there, started yelling into the void. First nothing, then a like, then 2, then somehow a few of my tweets pulled in millions of views. But that's a story for another time. One of the first accounts I connected with belonged to another Southern BC boy, a sharp, hilarious dude from Penticton called himself the Amazing Zoltan. We started a deep love of mocking hypocrisy, especially the moist-flavored Trudeau variety, a mutual contempt for anything too polished to be real. At some point, I messaged him to say, "What's up?" and we became friends. Back then, Alex was working as a financial advisor at a credit union. One day, he told me he was thinking of quitting to make mockumentaries full-time. Burn the ships, I said, full send. But the effing guy actually did it. How many people do you know in your friend group or your vicinity that's this kind of person? Alex is like a diamond in the rough. It's amazing to see him just like full send, just going for it, everything, just going straight for it. It's amazing. No plan, just savings, vibes, booze, and an unhealthy level of confidence. Well, cheers to all of that. I hope you guys can relate. I absolutely do. Months passed. No job, no break. I started to wonder if I'd accidentally helped him nuke his career. Then we met in real life at the Coots 4 trial in Lethbridge. He was like a drunk, over-caffeinated kid brother with terrible impulse control, poor boundaries, and a heart 3 sizes too big. I told him then, and I say it now, it's hard to hang out with a guy that annoying, but impossible not to love a guy that talented. Eventually, True North, now Juno, hired him as their crime reporter, and recently they sent him to Ottawa, where he's been gleefully grilling MPs and rattling the Laurentian Karens of Ottawa, like an operatic fart in the House of Commons. He started phasing out his amazing Zoltan handle and started going by Alex Zoltan. When he told his editors his real name was Alexander Turkanets, they blinked and said, yeah, we'll go with Alex Zoltan. I logged on today for the first time in days, and there he is, my ridiculous, relentless little buddy, putting actual questions to the Prime Minister of Canada. No journalism school, no credentials. He got his credentials. Just guts. Well, he was, yeah. Just guts, grit, and a mic. Mark my words, the Liberal Party of Canada is going to deeply regret not making internet censorship their top priority years ago. And I don't care what you spit politically. This isn't about that. Or where you sit politically. This isn't about that. This is about living your life with the reckless courage of Alexander Turkanets, the AKA the amazing Zoltan. This is the clip. This is the clip of him asking the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, a question at the French debates.
Alex Zoltan with True North. If you thought my friend's question was odd, you're going to love this one.
I'm glad you self-assessed that. Okay.
How many genders are there?
There, in terms of sex, there are 2. Thank you.
My follow-up question then, do you believe that women, biological women, have the right to their own spaces, their own sports, their own change rooms, their own prisons, their own homeless shelters?
I think this is Canada, and that as a general objective.
You guys are getting the warbly audio? Well, let me fix that for you guys. Let me fix that. All right, here we go. It should be better now.
Yes. But we work.
Give me a okay in the chat.
Where we value all Canadians for who they are, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, merci.
First of all, this is Canada. I just want to say first and foremost, this is Canada. That's the answer to a question. It's a bit like Justin Trudeau with the why did you decide to choose these people for your cabinet? Because current year. These are liberal answers. Just love it. Just love it. By the way, seeing everybody coming into the chat, don't forget to hit that like button. Smash that like button on the way in. It helps out a whole ton. Now, Alex Zoltan's been moving on to bigger and brighter and awesome things. And we're going to be having him on the show tomorrow. So we're going to do an extra show tomorrow at the usual time. I guess there's going to be another rally tomorrow, so whatever. Well, that's happening. Alex and I will be doing a show because we've got some interesting things to talk about. He's breaking some new stories. But in the meantime, here's a clip of him while he was in Stephen Guilbeault's riding, asking people on the street some questions. I love this. I haven't seen this, so I'm going to be reacting to this at the same time as you guys.
Continuing to provide coverage from what I believe maybe Stephen Guilbeault's riding, we have been talking to people on the street, in the metro, all around this neighborhood about what are the top issues for them during this election. Top of mind for most people, Donald Trump. What are the most important issues to you for this election?
Well, probably like almost every other Canadian, just to make sure that our values are preserved in this time of great uncertainty.
Yeah, what are our values?
The tariffs are the biggest issue to you, and Donald Trump as well, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Trump is the number one issue to you. It's the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 issue for you.
Which means all the fourth has to go against Trump.
Second biggest issue, I would say, is probably housing, or more broadly, affordability.
They have a recording studio, and you just never know every year, like, is the landlord just going to decide I'm going to double your rent and you're shit out of luck? So like you're investing into a business. I've seen it with restaurants, you know, people going in, starting a business, having a successful cafe or whatever it is. And then 2 years later, they're told, oh, we're going to double your rent. So the $100,000 they invested into their kitchen and their decor is just like out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's the biggest issue to me too, is housing as well. The third biggest issue is the environment, I would say would be a fair summary of the people that we've spoken to. And the fourth biggest issue, surprisingly, Marxism.
But
What?
Karl Marx, in his writings, he explains exactly what it should be. But it will take time before the general public rise, become more intelligent, and understand things.
Wow.
Excellent.
Excellent. Marxism is the thing that people are concerned about in that part of Quebec. Wow, isn't that interesting? The guy saying that we just need to take some time to brainwash the people so that they go along with the whole thing. Yeah, that happened through a number of different revolutions throughout history. Yeah, Alex didn't warn me about that clip. Holy cow, what a mind trip. But here we are. This is Canada, where Karl Marx is the most quoted guy by the current sitting prime minister in his book. I think he mentions him about 30 times. Karl Marx, even in times where it didn't even seem like he needed to even bring up Marx. I was actually talking with Frank Vaughn yesterday, and we were mentioning that, just the absurd amount of times that Mark Carney brings up Karl Marx in his book about values. Right, that's where we're sitting. Now let's get into some of these stories that are happening. Why am I rushing through this? I need to just chill and take some time and look at what's happening out there. I hear there's a rally going on with Pierre. Pierre's not live streaming it out there. Whoop. I hear there's a rally going on with Pierre. Ooh, I'm hearing double now. But I think some of the other guys are doing that. I think, what was it? Mr. Sunshine Baby was over there. I think Pleb is over there as well. Let's see. What's
so in terms of the car fund, we are at 3.8K. I don't know if that's currently in Canadian or American.
Car fund,
but it's a good amount. No, people aren't leaving in the background. So what that is people are parking. There's a whole other parking lot over there.
People are going in.
And the back of the line, is right here now. So that's the line. So we're now fully caught up. So there's no more line going towards the highway.
Big
and people are just lining up outside. And what I suspect is a lot of the people that are probably on the full backside of this warehouse are might not make it in. They might not make it in. I don't know how much more.
Big event. There's another preview here.
Let's go. Yes. See how young the crowd is. There's boomers, there's young people. It's very mixed. If you go to a Mark Carney rally, it looks like a geriatric home. Over here, we got a much better representation of Canada.
It's all ages here.
It's all ages, exactly.
Young guys here.
Exactly.
Like big groups of them.
Oh, there's Moose.
Well, and also, Mark Carney rallies are like 2 o'clock in the afternoon because of the people he tracks, right?
I'm supposed to get a picture of both of you for my mother.
Okay.
Yeah. Do it. I have her addicted to it.
Awesome. That's wicked. So you got lots of people coming out to that. Was it Pleb is streaming, the others aren't? Well, Mr. Sunshine Baby was. Veteran woman's car broke down and Sunshine Chat raised over 3,000. Wow. That's amazing. So he's donating that to her. That's something else. Mr. Roscoe Pico for 5 says, Pierre rally in Surrey, Delta tomorrow. Anyone else going? Big show up for Nanaimo right now. That's amazing. Yes, lots of people showing up for Pierre. How's your ridings doing? Let me know in the comments here. Has there been any gatherings, any things happening in your ridings for the different candidates that are happening? Because at the end of the day, you got to realize you're not just voting for the prime minister. No, this isn't the United States. You're not voting. We don't vote for our prime ministers like they do in the U.S. For the president. But it's you're voting for voting for your local MP. So you gotta hope that your local MP wins, because that's where it really comes down to it. Let's just hope those guys are out there actually hustling, maybe going to all of the debates, and maybe actually putting the work in to win that vote. Just get on out there and actually do the work and win the vote. I'm going tomorrow, says Trish. Awesome. Oh, you're going to the one in Delta, Surrey. That's awesome. 75% conservative in my Albertan riding. All is well. That's always good news. Always good news. The polls are BS. So we're going to get into that, because I want to get into some of this stuff. Because is everything absolute BS? Is it just the polls, the polls, the polls, the polls? Because I'm getting mixed signals from people. I get mixed signals because people are telling me the polls are bad, but look at this poll, it's good. This poll's good. It's the if the poll, one man's poll is another man's treasure, or the one man's trash is another man's poll. Which way does it really go? Because I have my thoughts on some of this, and some of it's got me concerned, because, well, this is the future of our country, Canada, and this is what we're seeing on the ground. Now I'm going to pull up some of these polling datas, and is it these data or is it this data? Tell me, what's the plural of data? Is it the data are, or the data is suggesting? The polls mean nothing, really. We're all, I don't even know how to read that, kind of BS. I think fishing polls don't lie. Yeah, fishing polls can lie. They definitely can lie. When they're bouncing on you just because your buddy's over there tapping on it for you. Now that's what a lot of people are suggesting is happening in the polls in Canada. So here's 338 as of, I think this was yesterday. So 338 is making a solid prediction towards the Liberal Party. Now, it depends on the province. If you're looking at the provinces broken up here, British Columbia kept flipping back and forth. So I've been watching this over the past several weeks, and British Columbia, even just in the last week, it flipped from Liberal to Conservative and then back to Liberal again. This is what's been showing up there on that poll. Now, Alberta, largely a safe area. I mean, you can pretty well trust Alberta is going to be voting Conservative. That's pretty straight across the board. Same with Saskatchewan. Manitoba is really neck and neck right now as the polling is sitting. But then you go east of that, and we're in Liberal territory. At least the polls are suggesting that 338 gathers. Now, people would suggest that, well, some of those polls are so skewed that it's skewing the entire aggregate of polls. The thing, only the CBC watching couch dwellers are answering the polls. So, of course, that's what we're seeing, because I keep hearing that sentiment. And in this tweet, we can get into some of this sentiment here for what was being said. So I said, well, either the polls are way off, or we're about to have a lot in common with those old folks that remember what Korea was like before the Kims. That's really, if the polls are right, then that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. Now, the comments are very much on the stay positive, keep positive, and that thing will happen that you want it to, despite what you're hearing. Just the positive vibes. Come on, Clyde, stay positive. Ignore the polls. I heard BC is in for a blue tsunami. This is what I'm hearing from people online, as well as many other people. See my bit from today, says Frank Vaughn. There's a well-established history of polling companies being way off base close to elections, especially in elections where the left is losing. Not sure if that's happening, but Saskatchewan election was 15 points polling miss. So I checked that out, and I had a good chat with Frank Vaughn yesterday, and of course of course, I'll have him on the show again to chat, because Frank Vaughan is actually one of the most interesting people to chat with. He's very well researched on all of his points, let's just say. This is sickening. I want to believe that it's all BS. Me too. I want to believe that. I absolutely want to believe that. Better start adopting dogs in advance. But yeah, so this is the sentiment. Most people saying, nope, this isn't real. Look at the other stuff. Of course, yeah, you've got the polymarket polling, which, I mean, can you really take polymarket seriously? It really is just a betting thing. So as it's really just an indicator of odds on a bet. That's all that is. Clyde, do something. Have you been polled? No, I haven't been polled, but my house has been visited by candidates. The Liberal candidate, not the candidate himself, but door knockers, but not by anyone else. Don't believe the polls, dude. Really? Well, this is what I'm getting into. This is why I want to talk about it. So, should we believe the polls? So, we're seeing other polls. Oh, hold on. The New Age, and it's cut off. I don't know why I can't see the whole name. Sorry, but your name has been cut off. No, guys, the Conservatives blew it. We done for. Start making plans to leave now. Is that what you believe? Is that what you think is happening? Well, we'll see. We'll absolutely see. Boomers believe the polls. It's funny. Am I a boomer? I'm not a boomer. But some people are saying poo-poo on the polls. The polls are not an accurate way of looking at that. Clyde had an encounter with some door knockers. Sorry, hold on. I missed that. Door knockers. No, sorry, not that kind. Gotcha. You got me on that one. I'm the son of a boomer. Yeah. So some people are saying don't trust the polls. The polls are not worthy of being trusted, but also saying other things.
Who they want to see be the next Prime Minister of Canada. Let's take a look.
Yahoo asked the question.
This is with about 90,000, 88,000 people have voted in this. What does this mean? I don't know. Is it skewed? I don't know. The point being, this is a much bigger data set than the 1,000 to 1,500 people they poll in the mainstream polls. We will see. I still don't buy the mainstream polls. I get comments from people saying, I've voted Liberal all my life. This is my first time voting Conservative. I see the big voter turnout. I think I'm going to put some money down on Pierre, because if I do win, I'm going to win big. This is from Yahoo. You can Google this. You can take a look. Make sure you get out and vote Monday. Let's make sure it happens.
Yeah, let's make sure it happens. Absolutely. Get out and vote. Don't take this as an opportunity. I had a lot of people say that this is a morale kicker to have the polls look this way, that's what's going to help the Liberals win. But no, it actually works the other way. So if the Conservatives think that they're losing, that their voters, conservative voters, think that they're losing, that's what encourages them to get up and go vote. And this is why I'm telling people, get up, go vote. Get up and go vote. Don't forget to go vote. But usually when Liberals think that they got a shoe in, a lot of them just say, well, they're going to win anyway. I'm just going to stay home. So if anything, a false sense of security for the Liberals would end up being not good for the Liberals. Let's just put it that way. And it would encourage more Conservatives to get out and vote. But this was something that a lot of people were sending to me today. They were saying, Clyde, it's not like you think. Check it out. Yahoo is polling 69% for Pierre. So I had to post this for a lot of people to look at. Pierre Poilievre polling at 69% on Yahoo. Internet experts say that this is 420% accurate. Just going with the 69-420 gag. But you got to understand. So this happens all the time. People will put a poll up on their Twitter, It's a poll of their fans. You used to get a lot of these polls. They would put up polls on some website, and then everybody would go on their social media and they'd, hey, everybody go vote for that poll. So once you've done that and you encourage a group of people from one demographic to go vote on a poll, you've just skewed all the data. You're just getting the result that you wanted, not an accurate representation of what's going on. Now, is that what's happening with 338? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, because 338 is just it's kind of all over the place. So yeah, it keeps moving because there's a lot of polls happening, but we're still sitting at 186 Liberals and CPC at 124. So let's change the poly market to Polia market. I don't get it. Let's change that. Oh, okay. 338 is an aggregator. So this is right. This is correct. So what 338 does is they take all the polls that they have access to, and then they put most of them, or they put them in with all the other polls to get a bigger picture. So when you aggregate, you're not just getting the, a few people, or sorry, a poll that has 1,000 people. Instead, you're taking all the polls that have 1,000 people, all the polls that have 3,000 people, and you're clumping them all together, giving more of a representative picture. Now, can that be skewed? Possibly. But what would cause a skew to go that far? Is it really just a conspiracy to skew the polls? I don't know. The shift has hit. I'm guessing the fan is the rest of that name, with a $10 super chat. It says, just remember, every single polling firm undercounted Conservative and Bloc support by no less than 2% and no more than 6% in the 2021 election. Every single one. Well, let's hope that that's accurate. Because then we're looking at. Are we looking at a landslide? No, I think we're probably looking at more conservative minority territory at that point. And let's just be honest, they played the political game very well. They did. Megan Sky Phoenix, member for 25 months, says, anyone remember the old Bodie McBoatface? I do. What was that boat? It was a boat that they allowed the internet to. I gotta pull that story up because that's just hilarious. Bodie McBoatface. That was they allowed the internet to name a boat, and boy did they ever. It was a polar ship. Here we go. Let me pull that story up because that cracks me up, and I think that'll cheer the mood here a little bit better. News from BBC. This was back in 2006. So Bodie McBoatface tops public vote as name of a polar ship. I'm guessing from England. The 200 million pound ship will replace RRS Ernest Shackleton and James Clark Ross when it becomes operational in 2019. So yeah, it said name the vessel. Basically, they had a vote on the internet. So what's the story here? The name suggested by former BBC Radio Jersey presenter James Hand went viral, crashing the Natural Environment Research Council website. Bodie McBoatface was a runaway winner with 124,109 votes. The second most popular choice, Poppy May, had 34,000 votes. NERC said that according to its competition rules, it would have to have the final say on any name. The result of the poll sparked a mixed reaction on social media. Imagine Bodie McBoatface sank. Everybody died. Imagine the news having to to say that out with a straight face. Bet they don't use it. Not a chance. They call a Royal Research vehicle Bodie McBoatface. I think they did. I think they went ahead and they called it Bodie McBoatface, and that it ended up being the name of the boat. So yes, thank you for that, because that's absolutely hilarious. Just had to put that one out there. That's great. So let's double check. I want to see if that rally ends up happening. We stay on top of that. Yeah, so live streams are going down. People are finishing up over there. Hold on, let me see. CPAC is going to be live streaming that in a bit here. And we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with that, because I want to hear some of the rhetoric that's coming out. I'm guessing a lot of it's going to be much the same. But let's get into some of these stories around Canada, because it's just amazing, amazing. Give Moose on the Loose some love. Clarence Dugway. Let's do that. Just a moment here. Where am I? Where am I? Holy cow. I wanted to pull up this story. Internet is nasty over there right now. Oh, on the island? Yeah, it's absolutely trash. When I was in Nanaimo, I couldn't live stream. I was there on a Friday night for the AGM, the conservative AGM. But let's get into this story. Small-scale Alberta egg farmer arrested for selling eggs outside of the quota system. Hey, can't wait to keep on going with those quotas, right, Canada? Get those negotiations. Donald Trump actually tried to help us with this one. This was part of the, hey, would you knock it off with your tariffs and all of that stuff, Canada? So that would be, of course, the quota system with the eggs. 5 RCMP vehicles arrived to arrest him. What's the story? A Lethbridge area farmer was arrested Wednesday morning in a dispute over egg sales, with his daughter alleging the egg farmer of Alberta is targeting small producers to protect its quota system. Small producers. So if you gotta, just can't let 1 dozen eggs go. Cannot let it happen. Lindsay Van Essen announced her father, Hank Van Essen's arrest on Facebook post, claiming the EFA opposes his ability to sell eggs, inspected eggs, without participating in their costly quota system. This morning, my dad, Hank Van Essen, was arrested because of chickens and because of eggs. Lindsay wrote, more specifically, he was arrested because of the egg farmers of Alberta don't like that he can sell inspected eggs to people without paying millions into their quota system. Look at the activity account buying Carney on Polymarket. Definitely being juked. Yeah, but that's Polymarket. That's not real polling data. That's people bidding up. It's like bidding up a penny stock. I don't understand what that means. Moose Rock like Clyde. What is that? What? Shakedown, cooked ones. Mr. Sunshine Baby's doing a fundraiser super chat for a veteran lady whose car broke down. All SC will go in getting her a new car, and shout out would be appreciated. Wow, that's amazing. Polywave site has a map of ridings, and it's 50-50 in GTA, flippable liberal leaning. Let's hope that works. Let's hope that works. I look at my riding and I'm saddened. They scrambled his they scrambled his plans with the eggs. That's the thing. Check out Vancouver rally with Pierre Poilievre. Yeah, okay. Scrambling. Alex Doe with gifting 5 memberships to the channel. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that one. I did try to check out the live stream. By the way, it is down. It's no longer live streaming. That is what's happening over there. So thanks for the heads up on the dead stream. Your riding is same as mine. The Conservative candidate has been a no-show. Nux for Cup. Aren't we on the same page here? I don't know if you caught with my I hope everyone's candidates are out there working hard and showing up and debating and doing all those things. I hope that that's happening for you guys in your ridings. But here I am. Here we are in the Sea to Sky. Sea to Sky, which also covers West Vancouver and the Sunshine Coast. Tell them you're selling eggs for pet food. F the government. Here's the thing. So this is what they're going after him for. So get back to that quote. This morning, my dad Hunk was arrested because of chickens, because of eggs. More specifically, he was arrested because the egg farmers of Alberta don't like that he sell inspected eggs to people without paying them millions of dollars into their quota system. Now, is this a government agency? No. Not technically, but this is the cartel. These are the cartels that exist in this country. It's unbelievable, and they make money at the expense of the consumer, and also at the expense of actual farmers. The EFA oversees a quota system, part of Canada's supply management. How does that sound to you when you hear that term, supply management? To me, I just think of Chairman Mao. I don't think of anything other than Mr. Chairman Mao. When I hear supply management, I hear central authority, somebody from the office of telling you what to do, coming in and saying what farmers are allowed to grow, breed, all of those things. The EFA oversees the quota system, part of Canada's supply management framework, requiring farmers with more than 300 laying hens to register and hold a quota to sell eggs commercially. So you have to make sure that you always have 299, no more, hens alive on your land. This quota allocated nationally by Egg Farmers of Canada determines the number of hens a farmer can raise, aiming to balance supply and demand for market stability. Wait, what? Doesn't the price mechanism do that? No, we don't believe in that in communism. We believe that the price mechanism is flawed and that you should really actually, have a central authority tell everyone what to do. Welcome to the Socialist Republic of Canada. John Lies, you're right here with me on this. Why did I hear that Carney's rally people are singing something different words or phrases rather than the anthem? I'm not sure. I didn't hear about that. What's with all these supply management agencies? Are the inspectors constantly obnoxious? Sorry, obnoxiously insufferable. This is government. And we keep getting more of it. This is the whole thing. Sasquatch Chronicle says the only trusted news in Canada. Thank you. Even if the news isn't great, I mean, I'm gonna do my best. I'll always do my best to give you what I believe to be accurate, even if it doesn't feel good. I'm sorry. That's the way it goes. Pom poms and cheery slogans elsewhere. You can always go find those. I think it's just singing all thy sons command. Those are the original words for sure. Those are the original ones. Quota for eggs, we had 4,000 hens. Oh, did you, Dave? So it is unknown how many hens were on Hank's farm. Lindsay described the organization's control as a monopoly that demands a commission on every dozen eggs sold. The monopoly they hold over the production of eggs is absurd, so much so that they take a small farmer to jail and court to squeeze every penny out of them they can, she wrote. Hank, who is 61 years old, they jailed a 61-year-old farmer. Aren't they proud? Don't they just go home and they're so proud of themselves after this kind of thing? Oh, boy. Wow. He's 61 years old. He earns a modest income from his egg sales, according to his daughter. She urged consumers to support local egg farmers and express solidarity with other small producers facing similar pressures. If you're a small farmer who is also being targeted by egg farmers of Alberta, please know that he is fighting really hard for you today, she added. Lindsay's call to action highlights ongoing tensions between small-scale farmers and Canada's supply management system, which critics argue favors large producers and limits market access for smaller operations. It also makes everything more expensive for the consumer. What a great time to be doing that too, hey? Limiting what the consumer can get at a time when Canada is in some of the worst shape that we've I'd argue ever been. This is where we're at with that. Please consider buying from small local egg farmers who aren't regulated by the egg farmers of Alberta, especially today, she wrote. The Western Standard contacted egg farmers of Alberta for comment without success. Local RCMP said they can't confirm if Hank Van Essen is in custody. Because why? Why would they answer questions? I can't wait to get into the story tomorrow with Alex Zoltan, because we're going to get into some of the stuff behind some of the CBC's claims as of late. Trish Prue with a 279 super chat. I came for feel good news, Clyde. Now I have to go. All right. sorry. That's some of the news that we've been having here in Canada. Ryan Garrettson putting this out on Twitter today saying, this is a global news headline. Elections Canada will let some ridings count advance ballots slightly early. Asking, are you okay with this? I'm not. It's a big no from me. I'd hope that they aren't doing that. I'd hope so. I'd hope not at all. Where were we? Notifications. No, that's not where I'm going. I wanted to get into this one because this one cracked me up, but I mean, it is what it is. What? No way? Yeah. They're gonna allow them to count those early votes early. They're gonna get on that. Maybe it'll be a little bit like, oh, just teasing, Clyde. Appreciate it. Maybe it'll be like the British Columbia election when the people who were collecting the ballots for a week, they were taking the ballots boxes home with them and doing I don't know what, but they were allowed to do that. AD 1992 for $10 says possible that the shy con voter effect might be more prominent this election, since Liberals have spent campaign tying Poilievre to Trump, even though we know it's not true. Wasn't a thing in 2019 and 2021. So I keep hearing about that. The silent majority, the shy conservative. Yeah. Is that a thing? Is that happening? I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't shy, and they are going to these rallies. So when you tune into these rallies, exceptional amount of turnout. Let's just be honest. There's a tremendous turnout. Now, does that translate into more votes than the other side? I hope so. I'm not your buddy guy for 2 says, let's make that farmer story go viral. Yeah, I think maybe I'll do a segment on Monday about it so that we can get that one back in the news so it's out there. I'm curious about this one. Yeah. Conservatives have had 4 years to warm up. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. Very, very warm all over the place. Now, what's happening in the United States is getting me excited. Now, let's be honest. I wish we heard some rhetoric like this. So every time I hear rhetoric like this, I get excited, and then I remember it's on the other side of the border. But I still am excited for this. Now this is Hegseth, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, giving an announcement talking about how basically people that were let go of their jobs, people who have had their wages, lost time at work or whatever because of not going with the COVID vaccine. He's making a promise to make it right to them.
We're back with more changes at DOD, and this time an update on COVID-19 and reinstatement. We all know that the previous administration issued unlawful orders on mandatory vaccines on an experimental vaccine, COVID-19. You know it, we know it. We're doing everything we can, as quickly as we can, to reinstate those who were affected by that policy.
That's amazing.
It hasn't been perfect, and we know that. We're having an ongoing conversation with you to get it right, working with the White House as well. We want anyone impacted by that vaccine mandate back into the military, people of conscience, warriors of conscience, back in our formations. We hear you. And we're working to get updated guidance as quickly as possible. So kind of here's where we are on more guidance we're providing right now. So in January, the president issued his executive order. We jumped right on it. In February, I directed the department to take corrective action regarding this specific department's unfair, overbroad, unnecessary COVID vaccine mandate. We apologize then, apologize now for how it was done, and we want to fix it. So today, I'm signing a memorandum that directs the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness to provide additional guidance to the boards that are reviewing these cases concerning the review of requests from service members and former service members adversely impacted by COVID-19 vaccine mandate. The guidance also will facilitate the removal of adverse actions on service members solely for refusing to take the COVID-19 vaccine, including discharge upgrades.
Yeah, that's right. Every person in the country was affected by those mandates. Now, not everybody in the United States was affected by those mandates, but this is the response from the Secretary of Defense for people in the military that were affected by the mandates in the United States, the ones that Joe Biden put on. I want you to listen to the language that he gives, because he doesn't do a lot of like Joe Biden blaming in this. And this is what you want to see from a government moving forward. I just want you to hear this.
And less than fully honorable discharges for individuals separated for refusing to take the COVID-19 vaccine. So we're trying to scrub all that, clean all that up. We'll also facilitate appropriate remedies for service members who have suffered additional career setbacks resulting from the previous administration's unlawful vaccine mandate. So that original EO addresses the unfair, since rescinded COVID-19 vaccine mandate imposed on warfighters during the previous administration. We know how bad it was. You know how bad it was. And through this guidance, which I encourage you to check it all out directly, because it's an update going even further than what we've done in the past, this memo is providing supplemental remedies for service members and veterans negatively impacted by the DoD defunct COVID-19 disease vaccine mandate. So more guidance here that we think is really important in getting this right, and we welcome you all back as quickly as possible.
Did you hear that? They want to apologize to them, and they're going to make it right. They want to apologize to them, and they want to make it right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We need to see that happen here. Do we have anyone even saying that? Nux for Cup saying, Canada needs to call that the James Top Initiative. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you, but we can't let them get away with what they did. You're correct. We need that leadership in Canada. We need something like that in Canada. Trump, Biden, and all politicians are not good. Well, some are better than others. Let's be honest with each other here on this one. That's so awesome, isn't it? And this is, I really wanted to showcase this, because this is how it's done, folks. This is how it's done. It's not done by ignoring it and like, oh, well, that's not really a politically big thing to be touching right now. Who cares? Who cares? Take care of it. It's your responsibility. The government was the perpetrator in this, and then what do they do? They could just turn around and say, well, it wasn't us. It was Joe Biden, like we heard Trudeau do for a decade. Everything I do isn't my fault. It was Stephen Harper. It was the one-armed man. It wasn't me. It's crazy. Take responsibility for it. That's what we need to see more of, and I'm very proud. I'm proud when I watch Pete Hegseth get up and say that. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him to say those words. That's amazing. That was honorable. Despite the fact that he didn't do that, likely didn't support that ever. But he got up and he apologized on behalf of the office of the Secretary of Defense and the federal government of the United States of America. That takes guts. That's exactly it. Tired of ergonomics in the highest what? Or sorry, why am I reading ergonomics? Egomaniacs in the highest offices of Canada. It is. It's all about their ego. It's crazy. Put the ego aside. Let's see more of this. Let's see more of this. I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm a pureblood. Or at least I know I'm free. Isn't that the song? That's the lyrics. I'm very proud to be an American citizen. I'm proud to have grown up in Canada. Absolutely. I'm absolutely proud to have grown up in Canada. Where Canada is right now, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all. No. And I think a lot of people with their heads put on right are not proud of it either. I like this book. I can't wait to get into it. For those that weren't here earlier when I started the stream, Don't Be Canada by Tristan Hopper. How one country did everything wrong all at once. This is going to be a fun read. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, Tristan, shout out to you. That's the thing. North American, I am. There you go. That's the spirit. Politicians are egomaniacs by nature. Yeah. Well, not all of them. Not all of them. I mean, I was always a big fan of Ron Paul. I think he was fantastic. And he was not that egomaniac that people say. Let's have a little clip from the Pierre rally and see what he's saying over there.
She said, "You just woke up my one-year-old triplets. And my husband, who is a Russian weightlifter,
no context,
is just getting dressed to come down and have a word with you." She said, "That won't be necessary. Just tell him that the local NDP candidate came by to say hello." Quick thinking. Well done.
Speaking of which, we'll get into this story in a bit. Singh admits he delayed the election to block Conservative majority. That's what he did, and he was successful at that.
We want change. We want change.
He needs to be chewing on an apple.
Change so you can afford food and homes. Change so you're safe on your streets. Change so we bring home jobs to this country so we can stand up for
Ron
ourselves
Paul for
with
the long
strength.
haul. I loved Ron
Change
Paul. He was great.
To make Canada
I still
a
love Ron Paul.
country
He's
where
fantastic.
anyone who works hard can achieve a great life, live in a beautiful home on a
safe street.
That is my mission
Protected
in
by
politics,
safe troops
and that is
or
what we are
whatever.
voting for when we vote for change on Monday.
Gotcha. Slogans.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Conservative majority is very much going to happen.
Pour que vous puissiez vous offrir de nourriture.
Okay, he's talking French, so I can talk over that. That's for sure. Hey, Clyde, why leave? You're a real Canadian rock star, brother. Because I can't afford to stay here anymore. I got my rent went up by $20,000 this year, and we have to move, so we're going to move somewhere cheaper. That's the reality.
Vancouver Island, we have the great Conservative candidates, Chris McNichol, Jeff Kibble, Aaron Gunn, Kathy Onstead, and Angus Ross. Give them a round of applause for our local Conservative.
I'm going to give a round of applause for Yuji Tai and this $10 super chat. He said, sorry I'm late. Alex Zoltan is one of my favorite people right now. It's hard to describe what he is like, but he is is special in a good way. Canada is a better place thanks to Alex. I absolutely agree with that. Alex is a fantastic person.
We know what that means.
We know.
Look at the last 10 years of Liberal government. Housing costs have doubled.
I heard that somebody
Food
yelled
prices
World Economic
have
Forum.
increased 37% faster in Canada under the Liberals than in the United States of America during the exact same time. Crime is pouring
Visit
into our
Texas,
streets,
then ask
up
Clyde do something while he's
50%. Gun
moving.
crime up
I'm in Washington and I
116%.
want to move there.
50,000 Canadians have been lost to drug overdoses every day.
Come on down.
I
It's
meet
easy
young
for you to
people
move.
who are giving up on hope. They believe they'll never be able to leave their parents' basement. I meet people in their middle ages who are worried they're going to be evicted because the rent has skyrocketed. Seniors choosing between eating and heating. One man said
have rent like
tragically
that.
to
Wow.
me in a warehouse near Toronto a couple of months back that he feels like a failure. He works 3 jobs and never sees his kids. They ask him, Dad, why are you never around? And why can't we ever move into a house out of this small apartment?
My kids
You know
asked
something?
that.
That man is not a failure. He is a hero. I want for his kids to grow up knowing that their dad went out into the jungle every day and fought for them to bring home a living and a life.
Listen, if you're in that position, don't ever think for a second that you're a failure. If you're providing for your family in a time like this, you are not a failure. Absolutely not.
Inflation through rampant money printing, overtaxation, growing bureaucracy, blocking everyone from creating, building, and doing things. It is the government that has failed the people. And after the lost Liberal decade of rising crime and costs, we cannot afford a 4th Liberal term. We need a change, my friends.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely. That is a lot of us right
Après
there.
la décennie
Yeah.
perdue, des libéraux avec des coûts et la criminalité qui augmente, on ne peut pas nous offrir un 4e mandat libéral. On a besoin du changement avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va couper les taxes et les impôts, éliminer la bureaucratie, exploiter nos ressources naturelles, ramener nos emplois ici pour qu'on nous puisse...
He's doing the French thing, so yeah, it's a thing. Why am I in this top chat, live chat? I gotta see this. Yeah, works 3 jobs and can't afford a house. Holy S, you can't. Canada is bad. Yeah, I work 2 full-time jobs, 2 absolutely full-time jobs, and am a dad on top of that. And yeah, no, we can't afford a house. We are in an apartment where our rent went up by, say it again, $20,000 a year went up last year. John Hoyle for 5 says, you want to live cheaply? Come to the Midwest. Retired here from New England. It's stunning how cheaper it is, but there are tornadoes. Yeah, no, not going to the Midwest. I'm going to South by Southeast, I guess. Oh, that's where the South by Southeast is. Austin, Texas area. There are tornadoes. Not really. That's where the storms kind of start, and then they go up towards Dallas, Fort Worth. So not worried about that.
They make money off of inflation while you pay it. Inflation
Yeah,
is the worst
do.
tax. It takes from the working class and the seniors and gives to the wealthy billionaire class. A transfer of wealth from the have-nots to the have-yachts. My friends, if you don't believe me that this is the future, then believe the government when that's what they write. Has anybody seen this report?
Register inflation as a tax.
Future lives, social mobility in question. I think this is actually the real Liberal platform. For the
Thank
next
you,
15
Karen. I really
years.
appreciate that.
Here's what
Thank
they
you.
describe. First of all, there's a section. Imagine whenever you see a section in a report.
Austin is
that
very
entitled
liberal. I always hear that, but you
2040
go there and
more
it's like
snakes than
conservative
ladders.
compared to Even Alberta.
You know you're dealing with a real whopper here. It says, in 2040, upward mobility is almost unheard of in Canada. Hardly anyone believes they can build a better life for themselves or their children through their own efforts. However, many worry about sliding down the social order. Now that's fancy bureaucratese for saying, doesn't matter how hard you work, you're not getting ahead and you'll probably fall behind.
Yeah,
They go on to say, in 2040, owning a home is not a realistic goal for many. Most new homeowners get help from family members. Then, in 2040, people see inheritance as the only reliable way to get ahead.
It's a joke, Beth.
People
it's a
rarely
joke.
mix
Yeah, no.
with others of different socioeconomic
And I'm not
classes.
moving
What
to
that
Austin. I'm
means
moving
is
outside
there's
of
a tiny
Austin.
group of wealthy elite that keep to themselves and protect what they have, and everyone else is completely shut out. Then they go to say that increasingly Canada will look like an aristocracy, where there's a special group that sits on top of all the wealth, and everyone else works and scrounges to pay the bills. It gets so bad, they continue, that at some point they say that people will no longer be able to go to grocery stores. They will have to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands just to
They're
pay.
already doing that. Carnage Carney, member for 7 months, says Calgary show was awesome when the hangar opened and we saw the plane. People went crazy. I bet they did. Absolutely.
Good news is we don't have to. We can choose change on Monday. We can take back control of our lives.
Woo! What is it?
And
Who's
build a
that
bright future.
guy who like lost the election because he did that
There's another plan.
from the United States?
So there's another way. It's this change platform. A very detailed plan to turn the country around, unleash the power of our brilliant workers and entrepreneurs, our resources, grow our economy,
Zach the joke.
build homes that our youth can afford. And frankly, we should be aiming our sights on making Canada the richest country on earth. There's no reason not to.
He's behind in his reporting. What, Pierre?
And you know,
Howard
I do have
Dean
some
knows
bad news
it.
for our candidates.
Yeah!
I have to give it to you. I might as well tell you now, in front of all your
Just that
family.
one thing lost him
Your
everything
summer
from the
vacation is
Iowa,
canceled.
right? Summer vacations
Because
canceled.
after
Some
you get
people
elected,
don't get them at
I've
all,
committed
man.
to 100 days of urgent change. We will be passing 3 large omnibus bills, the Affordability for a Change Act, the Safe Streets for a Change Act, the Bring Our Jobs Home for a Change Act, and there will be no summer vacation until all 3 of these laws are passed and our country is en route to change. Pas de vacances estivales avant que le
There
Parlement.
won't be summer vacation until they get their stuff if the Conservatives get voted in. Sasquatch Chronicle saying Austin might be more left, but you won't find tent cities, drug addicts passed out in the park, good jobs, and affordability. Plus, they have that southern food. It's great. Austin, Texas is the place where I went to an In-N-Out Burger, and they were hiring people for starting at $18.50 an hour US, and then jumping up to $22 after a short period. So, yeah, they pay well over there.
Deb Gray, do you agree with that plan? What do you think? All right, we have Deb Gray on site, everybody.
Deb Gray,
a
who's
great
Deb Gray?
Canadian hero, Deb Gray. Randy White is in the crowd as well, another former member of Parliament. Thank you, Randy. This law will go further. When we cut back on this $55 billion, I want the money to go into your pockets. I want you to gain purchasing power. Right now, you're spending more on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined. It's the single largest family expense after the lost Liberal decade. That is why we are announcing that a Conservative government will cut income tax by 15% so that hard work pays off for a change.
I just want you to know that that number sounds great, 15%, but it's not if you paid 30%, you're paying 15%. It's 15% off of what you paid. So, and it's in a particular tax bracket. It's not as good as it sounds.
Make the decision.
It's good. It's way better than what the Liberals are offering, but it's not
They
as
want
good as it
to
sounds.
continue to share their wisdom and insight. They shouldn't be punished with clawbacks.
By the way,
and
Dickie
taxes.
Holmes with the $6.99
We'll let
super
working
chat
seniors
saying,
earn $34,000.
Clyde, you're not even a real journalism. That's right. I gotta find that.
And then there's the carny tax. Does anybody hear about the carny tax? You know about this?
There are several of them.
You know what
there
it
are
is?
many of them.
Yeah, it's hard to, I got to narrow it down. There's more than one. So Mark Carney says that nobody should be driving gas and diesel powered cars. So how about getting around in the middle of the winter in rural Canada with a Tesla? Anybody looking forward to that? So starting next
Yeah, people
year,
were trying
they have
last
an
year. It was awful.
electric car mandate they want to bring in that will limit the number of gas and diesel vehicles that a dealership can sell, and every vehicle over that quota will be hit with a $20,000 tax. The carny tax. The carny tax. It even works. It's carny tax. Car, it's a car. It's got car right in it. So as the years go by,
Oh, dropped it.
they're going to
It's
make
got
this
car in it. It's
quota lower and lower.
me. I don't know why.
So that by early next decade, the gas and diesel vehicles will be banned altogether, and you won't be able to drive the car of your choice. This will add more expenses. It will destroy 36,000 auto manufacturing jobs in Canada will be destroyed. And by
I will make so much money.
the money go from the tax, it goes to subsidize electric car makers like Tesla. Isn't that something? So Carney wants to kill jobs in our auto sector to subsidize foreign automakers for vehicles that don't work in our climate and with our long driving distances. My friends, within 100 days, and before there's any vacation for the politicians, my government will axe the Carney tax completely.
So I gotta tell you, like, automotive technicians will make a killing off of this. We make money when people keep older cars and they repair them. So auto techs are gonna make a killing off of this this thing. That's not good though long term, because it just means that cars are more expensive.
Fresh. It's going to go bad about 80% faster when they ban the plastics. All while killing jobs.
You don't have to come to my aid. I'm fine. I'm fine.
We have
I just wanted to
businesses
explain
that
her.
produce plastic. We have a petrochemical business in Western Canada. They want to kill jobs, make our food go bad more quickly, all to support their radical environmental agenda, which, by the way, does absolutely nothing for the environment, given that most of the plastics in question are actually recycled and repurposed. I will get rid of the food packaging tax to save you money on your food.
Food plastics aren't generally recycled, like not the wrappers or whatever.
Affordability for a Change Act requires we do something about housing. Housing prices have raged out of
And we
control.
don't, like, how many
during this
chemicals are
lost
in those
Liberal decade.
paper straws? How much
Are
are
they pricey
leaching
around here?
into your body? It's gross.
Yeah. What does it cost to rent a place? Too much, obviously.
Too much.
Come on, you can give me some examples.
Here's one. $36,000.
What do you get for that?
$36,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Couple bedrooms? Unbelievable. And what does it cost to buy the average house here now? Anybody know?
On a lot,
You're in
all
the
by
millions.
itself, about $2 million.
So you're all millionaires? No.
No.
You know, you used to be. Well, you know, 10 years ago, if somebody said they had $1 million house, we were talking about a castle on a hill. Not anymore. That's the average house in the GTA. It's below average in the GTA and the greater Vancouver area. In fact, do you know that a house in the lower mainland of BC, an average home,
Yeah, that's why I have to leave the country, because I'm an idiot.
Sweden. Literally
It
buy
was the
a
cheapest I could
castle
find
for the cost of the average home.
to stay in
is
this town,
because we have too much
so
bureaucracy.
that I can keep my
and
kids in the
taxes.
schools
Fully
that they're in, and
one-third
then
of the
before we
cost of
leave.
every newly built home is just taxes. And then there's the bureaucracy that delays, and then you have to have the consultants that bill $2,000–3,000 a day to fill out the paperwork. Then there's lobbyists and lawyers. In fact, they did a study, And in Vancouver, if you take the cost of building a home and compare it to the cost of buying a home, there's a gap of $1.3 million. That's the government share. Twice as much money goes to government bureaucrats than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the homes. My friends, we're going to slash the bureaucracy and axe the taxes to build the homes as part of our 100 days of change.
Carnage Carney for 5 says, we learned our lessons on plastic straws and bring them back, and bags, bring them back. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's awful. Bring it all back.
We will also incentivize municipalities to free up land and speed up permits. We'll pay them half the cost of cutting their development charges, with the goal of knocking $100,000 off the taxes on each new home. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build 300,000 homes across our country. The goal, the mission must be to build 2.3 million new homes within the next 5 years so that you can afford a place to live. And while we are at it, we will stop the uncontrolled growth in our population. We cannot add 1.2 million people a year.
No.
To make housing affordable, we will cap population growth to ensure we always add homes, jobs, and healthcare services faster than we add to our population. We must reverse the radical, uncontrolled, liberal immigration policy that Mark Carney has pledged to continue. We're not interested
but that's not
in a
happening.
century initiative to turn Canada into 100 million people. We're interested in a country that takes care of the people that we have.
So we can make on average 230,000 homes with our current construction staff.
Our jobs to Canada. Make this a country where we take care of ourselves, stand on our own 2 feet, produce our own resources, including our prodigious oil and gas. We should be the richest country in the world.
Could be, but we aren't by choice.
We have the 3rd biggest supply of oil, the 5th biggest supply of natural gas, the biggest supply of uranium, biggest supply of potash. These are all, you like uranium? Are you into nukes over there? We've got a nuclear physicist over here. It's good energy. Nuclear energy is good energy. We have the most water that can run through hydroelectric dams, the biggest oceanic coastline of any country on planet Earth.
If you say coast to coast to
You like
coast,
the coast?
I am just, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Are you the captain of the ship? 44 years. Good stuff. 44 years doing what? Ordering them around. Okay, so you're the boss. Okay, we're bringing you to Ottawa. We're going to put you in charge of procurement, okay? All right. Excellent. She's hired. What a team.
We're gonna...
What's this?
What's next?
More freedom. We're definitely going to make this the freest country on earth, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion.
With real liberties that are guaranteed by our
But we need
creator,
the freedom
not by
to
the
produce
government.
our incredible resources. Right now, our resource sector is smothered by anti-development laws and high taxes on investment. The energy and resource companies say that if we want to be a self-reliant nation, we need to do 5 things. First, we need to repeal the No New Development Law C-69. I will do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Mark
it's
Carney
obviously
says he will keep
a good move.
C-69. We need to repeal the tanker ban so we can ship our resources overseas. I will do it.
If Carney wins, what'll happen to your channel?
We need to get
Nothing
rid of
right
the
away, and then
government-imposed
nothing long
energy
term
cap
because
to
I won't be in
unleash the
Canada.
production of more energy here in Canada.
Lots of energy for
We
Canada.
need-
Carnage Carney for $5 says 230,000 homes with a strong trade worker force, but we don't have that anymore. Rebuild the trade workers first. Well, it's 230,000 and dwindling. The highest in the last decade was 270.
Being a completed application. And then we need to
Solar.
get rid of the
Get into the
uncertainty.
trades.
Businesses are not
Talk
going
to
to
me.
set aside billions
Talk to
of
me.
dollars for projects that may never go ahead. I'll give you an example. The incredible Squamish people had an LNG project. Oh, we got a little guy there is a little... I think I was just talking about the liberal
little
economic
guy?
policies,
Come on,
and the
you're
poor
talking
guy
about
got
Squamish
sick.
and...
That's okay. It happens. It happens. He'll be okay.
He's talking about Squamish and somebody, a little kid barfed.
But, you know, we have in this, the great Squamish people.
Talk about your
they
candidate
are
in Squamish.
finally getting shovel in the ground on their LNG project.
What about
Do you
the
know how long
candidate
it took
in
them to get a
Squamish?
permit? 14 years. 14 years. This is a project that will be the most in fact, it's not only responsible, they're cleaning up the environment. There's an old mill that had polluted the place 25 years ago.
It's called wood
completely
fiber.
Contaminated.
What do you think was there?
They're cleaning up the contamination and turning it into the most environmentally friendly LNG plant in the world. And the government stood in the way for 14 years.
And who's your
Here's my
guy
plan.
to replace the
We're gonna
government?
draw a circle around certain areas in the country.
And who's your guy?
After doing all the environmental studies and making sure that they are the right place to put them. And then we will pre-permit the projects so that businesses know they already have permission to go ahead with clear permits, clear conditions, clear specifications. They're called Canada First shovel-ready zones. Shovel-ready zones. Show up, start building. We can do this in housing as well. The Squamish, you know what they did in Vancouver? Because they didn't have to follow city bylaws, it was on their reserve.
They
were able
voted
to
in a
build
Liberal?
6,000 housing units on 10 acres of land. That's a lot of homes for a lot of deserving families, which they will lease out and then be able to make money off. That never would have happened if Vancouver City Hall had anything to do with it. If we can clear zones, get the permitting done, we can build homes, we can develop our resources, we can create jobs, and we can take back control of our economic destiny. That will be part of the...
It was a shovel-ready project, and it was like great. It was about to happen, and they were going to hire a bunch of the native band people, and then it got given to an East Indian company, and yeah, we can all guess where that went. So probably not the best example. I know about that one.
What do we got here? What do you do, sir? Boilermaker, excellent. You'll definitely want to get us some nuclear power plants built then, eh? Do you know the Boilermakers Union has endorsed me and the Conservatives? Is that great? I love them.
That first
Great
time.
guys.
It's amazing that unions are endorsing a conservative. That is really impressive.
No, the National Boilermakers Union did endorse me. Look it up. I'll get you the,
Pierre
I'll get you the letter.
did address
Good
immigration.
folks, good folks. They gave us great support. Thank you for your hard work, my friend. What else do we got? What other trades? What do we got?
Dude, just because I criticize
what's your
actual
trade?
things, it doesn't make me
You're an
a Pierre
electrician.
hater.
That's
I want this
shocking.
guy to
What
win.
else? What are you? Another electrician. Carpenter. More carpenters. Yes, you're a carpenter? Young guy. How old are you?
It's funny when people don't see pom-poms waving, they think you don't like the candidate. I want him to win. I want him to win.
Combat engineer. That's a great trade.
Combat engineer. Where's my mechanics representing in the crowd? What?
Their
Where are you
noses
boys?
down on the trades, but the best jobs are going to be in the trades, and that's why my government is going to put the lion's share of training and education money into the trades. We're going to partner with union halls in order to train up 350,000 young people for careers in the licensed trade.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. The trades will be worked by AI bots?
Tax
Yeah, okay.
fairness for our trades workers. Right now, a CEO can write off an unlimited amount for his private jet, but a trades worker is capped at $4,000. If you're traveling from northern BC to the Timmins coal mine or off to the offshore in Newfoundland, and you're doing that 15, 20 times in a year, you're going to go way over that $4,000 limit, and then you're going to pay out of pocket.
So you get it,
in order
Gob.
to earn a living
Why don't
without
other
being
people
able to
get
claim
it?
those expenses that you needed to incur. The principle of our tax system is that you can write off the cost it took to earn the income. We will pass the Tax Fairness for Traveling Trades Workers Act so you can write off the full cost of food, transportation, and accommodation to get from one job site to another. And we're also going to send, I'm going to send a beautiful present.
Got kicked
to
out for
every high
refusing
school
the vax.
principal in
Man,
country. I know the
Raging
Constitution
Gun,
says education
man, I
is
feel for
provincial,
you.
but there's no rule that says a prime minister cannot give a gift to a high school principal. It's going to be a box. This size. Oh, are you a high school principal over there? So, this is going to be a box about the size of this stage. And in that box
No
will
respect,
be a
I tell
module
you.
for every licensed trade. It will be developed by the Red Seal Council so that our young people can begin pre-apprenticeships as early as age 14.
I'm into that. I think that's great.
Get a jump start.
That's great.
Get that Red Seal early, and then they're going to come out and they're going to be working, building LNG plants, mines, data centers, affordable homes. They're going to be earning big, fat, six-figure salaries. Mom and dad, your kids are going to be paying for dinner on Sunday night. They're going to be making money and doing well and bringing you grandchildren.
Flooding the housing market, getting rid of everybody's equity that they built up through this bubble. Yeah, no, I mean, I could get into that one if you guys want to talk about that. Faye Turamchuk, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, member for 2 months, says, I pray that Pierre does what he says he will do for Canadians. As an Albertan, I am done with Canada. I'm with you, and I'm going to be holding them to account all the way along.
My friends, we want these paychecks to be in safe neighborhoods. So we have to stop
Protected
the crime
by our
first.
safe troops
Is there
and
any crime
our.
around here?
Sorry, every time
You
he
guys
goes
have any
into
crime
that
in this
safe
area?
neighborhood thing.
Yeah. What kind of crime do you have? Everything. Yes? There was a burglary just down the road.
How many
Yep.
people in chat
Home
are done with
invasions.
Canada? Probably a lot.
Is it getting better or is it getting worse?
Can we stop at the land
Nanaimo's-
acknowledgements?
You know,
Are you
got off
tired
the
of hearing
plane
about
in
Turtle Island?
Nanaimo,
and-
not this time, I think about a year and a half ago. Got off the plane. The pilot walked up to me. He showed me a video of the previous night, his backyard security cam. There were a couple of guys rummaging around in his backyard, stealing his equipment. And then I walked over to the little newspaper. What's the newspaper called here? The Nanaimo which? News Bulletin, front page. It had record overdoses in Nanaimo. And then we walked up to one of our local Conservative volunteers who was greeting us there, and he said, the gentleman who was supposed to introduce you tonight at the rally, he's in the hospital because his tools were stolen. They were brought over to the tent city. He went to get his tools back, and he was viciously assaulted and ended up in a hospital. That was my first 10 minutes in Nanaimo when I arrived.
Welcome to the West
from one of
Coast.
my previous visits. This is one of the most beautiful places in the world with the best people. And you shouldn't have to live this way. You should not have to live this way. It was not like this before the catch and release criminal justice system.
Well, there was that lady who got attacked in Vancouver. It went viral, and she did a video with her eyes all bloodshot. She was attacked by some guy who just got out on bail. It's crazy.
Occasion, under quote, the legal...
She wasn't even from Vancouver. She was just visiting, and she was out for a walk.
Arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. Each one of these guys was arrested 150 times a year, all year long. They really had to be working at it full time. It's like maybe two full-time jobs to do that much crime and get caught. And these guys,
Maybe
they don't
Canada
have
needs a
benefits.
Frank Castle, not a
They don't
Pierre
have
Poilievre.
unions representing them.
No,
They do
maybe
have
we can
room
have
and
both.
board. They stay in the penitentiary just long enough to have a nice meal, and they leave and they come back. It's like the Hotel California. They check
Many people
out,
are
but they
done with
never really
Canada.
leave, right?
You can check out any
And then
time you
there's
like.
C5, the house
But
arrest
you
law
can
that allows
never
the same
leave.
offenders again and again to serve their sentences in the comfort of their living room, watching Netflix or playing Grand Theft Auto. And you expect that they're going to pay a price when they're at home? And then there's the get out of jail free card for Paul Bernardo, C83. My friends, before the politicians leave for a summer vacation, our 100 days of change, we'll pass the Safe Streets for a Change Act. Here's what it will be. We will repeal catch and release bail. We will repeal house arrest. We will repeal the Paul Bernardo law. We will pass 3 strikes you're out. An offender convicted of 3 serious offenses.
Join America,
will not
Canada.
be
At least you'll have
eligible
free
for
speech and the
parole,
Second Amendment rights.
Bail, probation, or house arrest. It will be a minimum mandatory 10 years behind
Define
bars.
done.
After which,
get out of here.
after which their release will not be guaranteed. They will have to earn release through perfect behavior, clean drug tests, and learning an employable skill. Getting out of jail will be an earned privilege, not a guaranteed right for serious offenders. And we will bring back consecutive rather than concurrent sentences, so multiple murderers do not get a bulk discount. They're going to do a life sentence for every single murder they commit. The Supreme Court said that one guy who killed 6 people should be eligible to apply for parole after 25 years. He'll be in his 50s. He'll only have served 4 years for each life he took. That is insane.
What about people who have embezzled tax dollars, Pierre? What about the ones that have embezzled our money?
The worst murderers.
I'm with you on the crime thing. I'm totally with you on the crime thing. But we got to go further. What about the people?
Borders.
Yeah, secure the borders. But what about the people who ripped us off?
99% of shipping containers come in without any inspection at all. That's where the drugs, guns, and stolen cars move.
If we've proved that somebody stole tax dollars, can we take that money and put it back into the coffers? Take that money, have it garnished from their wealth?
Shipping container at our major ports to see what's inside and stop the contraband. We'll have 2,000
He was on Elevate the other day and he got banned.
Boots on the ground. We will bring in.
Oh, you just copy and paste the same thing over and over again? At least be clever. If you're going to be a troll, be a clever troll.
And we will pay for it by canceling the wasteful multi-billion-dollar gun grab that targets our hunters and sport shooters.
Say what? We're doing what?
Gun grab that pay for it by canceling the wasteful multi-billion-dollar gun grab that targets our hunters and sport shooters.
Does that mean he's going to repeal the... Wow, okay. The handgun freeze, though. The handgun freeze. That's separate. Is that going to be...
The gun grab. The gun grab. That's right. We're going to respect... Do we have any hunters in the room?
There are a lot of hunters in Canada.
It's hilarious. They say in their famous report that by 2040 you won't be able to afford any food, so you'll have to go hunting for scraps. But they want to ban your hunting rifle. So how's that going to work? Are there any archers here? You have to go to archery. Oh, we got some archers over here. That takes a lot of patience, and you got to get it right. You
what
miss,
about
you ain't getting a second chance.
Handguns.
And that deer is gone. Quick. Yeah. What's that? We're getting rid of that. Absolutely. We're getting rid of the liberal ban on our hunters. Our licensed, law-abiding sport shooters are not the problem.
Oh, okay. So he's saying sports shooters. That's how he's getting around the language.
The Liberals will ban every single civilian firearm. Every hunting rifle will be banned if they get back in, and the NDP will be happy to help them. My friends, the choice on crime is very simple. Either after the lost Liberal decade of raging crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder, we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term. We need a change to
Trump
lock
bad,
up the
Trudeau,
criminals, respect the hunters, and bring home safe streets for all of us.
I've seen that one now too, so no more copy-paste. You got to get clever if you're going to be a troll in this chat.
Safety.
We're going to call you out. We're going to ask you to be more clever.
Who's this? Oh, there he is. I met this guy already. Come on up here. He's going to stop the crime. Who's this? Remind me your name. We met already. Muxum. I met you in Penticton, didn't I? Yeah, what a great kid. And so are you here to tell me that I have a ticket?
No.
Oh, thank God. I saw that pen there. I thought you were going to write me up for something. Thought maybe I parked in the wrong spot. So you're going to be a police officer when you grow up?
IFO connoisseur for $2.
Why do you
Trolls
wanna be a police
can't be
officer?
clever. They work for the CBC.
Isn't that wonderful? What a great kid. Is this your sister? Who's this? What's your name?
Stella.
And Stella, do you know this police officer? Okay. Would you like to meet him?
Sure.
Okay, well, you better shake his hand. There you go. New friends. Maybe you'd like to be a police officer as well?
No.
What would you like to do?
Be a vet.
You want to be a vet? That's wonderful.
That's great.
What an incredible couple of kids. Amazing. All right, hey, we have an incredible future with kids like this, hey? Let's give them a round of applause. Thanks very much, everybody.
I gotta give them. I gotta do it.
Many blessings.
I love the kids. Gotta love the kids. That's our future.
Oh, my. What's that?
Rebel News Today. Carney has
I love
investments
you
on
too.
the Isle of Man.
What an incredible
I don't
crowd we
doubt it.
have. Yep. Thank
En
you very much.
français, très
And
magnifique.
we're going to fight for our safety. We're going to fight for our kids. Those kids should not have to worry about stepping on dirty needles and crack pipes in the community. In the Lower Mainland, there are families that have to go to the soccer pitch an hour before the game. The parents have to line up in a row, walk the whole distance to make sure there's no drug paraphernalia to infect their kids. Meanwhile, we've lost 50,000 of our loved ones to drug overdoses, mostly fentanyl. A policy of radical drug liberalization has caused this problem to spread. Nowhere worse
Canada
than in
needs
BC,
Pierre.
where
Yeah.
this so-called safe supply experiment has been most enthusiastically
Are you copy and
embraced,
pasting?
and where
Are you
the
copy
federal Liberals
pasting?
and provincial NDP
No.
agreed
You don't.
to
We'll
a
ban you. We'll ban you
decriminalization
if you just copy
experiment
paste. You
that caused
gotta write
massive
new
death.
things every time. Come
Everywhere
on.
I go, I meet families who've lost loved ones.
Can't just have
Promising
your
young people
NPC
who
tree
took a hit
and just
of
grab
something
from
they
it.
didn't
You gotta
know about
actually
when they
like
were, after
write
they
your
had
words.
Too much to drink, or maybe they got an injury and got hooked on an opioid. My friends, we can turn this around, and we have a plan to do it. We're going to ban the drugs. We'll stop giving out tax-funded opioids. We're going to secure our borders.
Ignore the trolls. I like to engage the trolls. They're fun.
We will secure our borders to keep the drugs out. And finally, we will invest in treatment and recovery to bring our loved ones home drug-free.
So if he wins, does he have a good team behind him?
It will
Wow.
involve physical exercise, counseling,
Trolls
group
make good
therapy,
cookies.
yoga,
Yes,
job
they do.
placement, transitional
Yes,
housing,
they do.
getting people back on their feet and back into good lives. We will fund only those organizations that have a track record of getting people off drugs. I went to one such organization in Moncton not long ago, and it's called Harvest House. And I met these young
I think
men
Hope is
who were
returning to
cleaning
Canada.
their lives
Thanks
up
for
and
help
turning it
to
around.
create
And they
that,
said,
Clyde.
thank
Thank
you for
you.
your help. And I
Appreciate
said,
it.
don't
Thank
thank
you.
me. I'm actually here to ask you for something. I need you. I need you to get better. Because when you are better, you're going to go out on the street and grab some guy off the street corner, and you're going to drag him in here, and then he's going to get better, and he's going to go back on the street and drag someone else in here, and one by one, we're going to turn lives around and end this drug crisis forever.
We're going to make getting better addictive. What? What was that thing? Anyway, Alex Doe, is gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. If you just got a membership from Alex Doe, make sure you get into the chat and give him a big old thank you for that one. Sorry, that cracked me up. Wow, we're gonna make getting better addictive. What?
Strong nation. So a conservative government will rebuild our long neglected military and support our troops. Four big, powerful Canadian-made Arctic icebreakers will...
When is the election happening? I am going to stream it on Monday. It's Monday. So that starts at 11 Pacific time. So that'll be 1 p.m. Eastern. And that'll go all the way to 1 a.m. Eastern or 11 p.m. Pacific time. So tune into that. That's going to be a big stream. We're going to go all day long. There's a lot of us involved.
We'll build the first Arctic base since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit.
We're going to do what Trump said to do. We're going to do what Trump said to do. We're going to say that it was our own idea.
Our veterans who served this country. Well, we have some veterans over here. Give it up for our veterans, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Afghanistan, at least I could tell. Another veteran, thank you very much for your service, my friend. Thank you. Another veteran, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to our country. We're going to build a big, beautiful monument to all of the soldiers who fought in Afghanistan. And can you believe all these years later, still no monument?
Finally,
for the
yes,
brilliant
honor them.
young men and women who went and fought in the most dangerous place in the
I
world.
did laugh with
We will
that,
ensure
Danson,
we're bringing
yes.
a Helmets to Hard Hats program. Expand it so that our young veterans can take their incredible trades. We had a combat engineer and use those trades in the civilian economy, earning powerful paychecks. We will give a default treatment. So if someone is injured, we will assume that they got the injury from their service, and we will provide them with compensation and support so they don't have to fight their own government.
No joke. That's actually on the back of this book. It's in Canada, where a disabled veteran can request help installing a chairlift and be offered euthanasia instead. Yeah, that's right. What did he say there? Everyone's cheering.
For our history, no more. We will stop apologizing for our history. No more cancel culture.
Yeah.
Passport will once again have its pages filled with our heroes, Terry Fox, the famous Five, the soldiers at Vimy Ridge, and countless others.
Have you seen the new passport? My kid has one. It's awful. It's awful.
Pause for a change. We will also reinstate freedom of speech by canceling the liberal censorship laws. For a change.
That would be good.
Our purpose will be to unite our country around our common history, our common values, our common sense.
I literally burst
We're
out
going
laughing
to
when Trump endorsed
see
Carney.
ourselves as Canadians first. We welcome people from all around the world. We welcome different cultures and traditions. But we also believe that when you come to Canada, you put this country first. You're part of a new national family. And everyone is welcome in that family. We will unite all Canadians for the purpose of the Canadian Promise. The Canadian Promise, which allowed me, the adopted son of school teachers, to stand on this stage, that allowed my wife to arrive here as a refugee from Venezuela, 6 people in a basement
country
apartment,
that
and
went
now a
communist.
family
Yeah.
that is wonderfully successful, that allowed generations of hardworking families to pass on a better life from one to the next. A country that is not made up of tax collectors and toll masters, bureaucrats and busybodies, gatekeepers and grandees, rulers and rule makers. No, we are a nation of artists.
COVID turned our
entrepreneurs
neighbors into busybodies. That was the
and
crazy thing.
explorers. A nation of workers and warriors, of pioneers and patriots. We are a nation that stands up for itself, builds homes for its kids, protects its borders, honors its past, defends its vulnerable, believes in itself, honors those who came before us, and passes down the great treasures that we inherited to those who will come after us. We do all of this by raising our flag and saying that anyone from anywhere can do anything, that hard work gets you a beautiful life and an affordable home on a safe street under our proud flag,
protected
Canada
by our
first, Canada always.
proud troops.
Let's bring it home.
Okay, yeah. there we have it, folks. It's a lot of promises, a lot of good promises. Obviously, can they deliver on those promises? Obviously, it's preferable that we give them the chance to do it instead of the other way around, instead of not giving them a chance and going with a fourth term with the Liberals. You are always wrong about the proud troops, Clyde. No, they said it so many dang times. I'm not always wrong about it. He's just said it the same phrase over and over again so many dang times. I mean, it's one of those things. You hear, because I do news, right? So I have to listen to all of these press conferences. This is why I'm like, I cannot wait until election's done so I can go like look up stuff that's actually like not brain numbing. I'm sorry, but like I know a lot of people are excited to go to these pressers and all of this stuff, but it is brain numbing. It is mind numbing to hear the same things over and over and over again. It's a thing. It really is a thing. So yeah, when I've heard the same phrases over and over again, I tend to go, all right, there it is. But what do I know? What do I know? I'm not even a real journalist.
You're not even a real journalism. That's right.
That's right. I'm not even a real journalism. So, I mean, I'm just a guy, a mechanic. I pull wrenches. I read books. I studied a lot of things for a lot of years, and I have opinions, and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and I love to share my opinions. And somehow people were like, "Hey, I'd like to listen to those." Sure, great, thanks for coming along for the ride. It really has been a blast. It's been a fun thing. But I'm really, really glad that this election is going to be over on Monday. You're better than nothing, bro. Oh, that's the best insult ever. I need a plaque that says Clyde Nichols better than nothing or something. What would you do? Are you asking me, like, what would I do as government official or whatever? Carney for 5 says, if only the people who went to rallies could vote, we would have a majority. What do you mean? If the people could vote, are a bunch of those people not eligible to vote? Is that a thing? What's wrong, Clyde? What do you mean what's wrong? There's nothing's wrong. The Justice Duck for 279 says, what would make you say? What would make you say what? Take a look inside yourself, Clyde. Oh, thank you for that. That's funny. That's really funny. What do you predict if Carney... Sorry, wait. What do you predict will happen if the country... With the country if Liberals win? It's over. It's over. I mean, it's so hard to just come out and say that one because it sounds so just like how do you say it? Like doom saying or whatever. I don't think Canada will do very well if that were the case. I think Canada's already up shit's creek, let's just be honest. And I think the PMO report was accurate in what it was saying about the future 15 years. I don't think it would take that long if the Liberals got in, to be honest. I really don't think it would take that long to get where they're suggesting. I mean, for the most part, large chunks of Canada are already there. They're already in that situation. Joseph Staples for $10 says, lots to do when Conservatives win. There is a process for the public to push the Conservatives to find out where all the money went with the Liberal scandals. Will they do that is the question. Will they actually do that? So they're going to have their own things that they want to do. And then there's going to be the public saying, we want you to do these things. But they haven't promised any of that stuff. So they haven't promised that they're going to go after these. What are you saying about Jeff Rath? I'll get to that comment in a minute. Yeah, they're not saying anything about going after the funds that have been embezzled. I would like to see that, though. That's on my priority list. I want to see people jailed, because the biggest deterrent for future bad behavior is punishment in the here and now for people who commit the bad behavior. Nate's memes for 5, making it sound like you got a great channel of memes. Maybe I should go check out your meme channel. For $5 says, when a local governor banned more than 6 people at Thanksgiving dinner during COVID, someone hung a mannequin with a FPHUQ Kate Brown from an overpass. Those things have happened. Those things have happened for sure. Absolutely. Where was I? Yard Prep says Jeff Rath was in DC for a few days. Preliminary meetings on support for Alberta independence have gone very well. More to come. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have Jeff Rath on the show to talk about it. Also, pay attention on the stream when we're doing the election coverage, because we'll have Keith Wilson on as well to talk about where that's going. So he's independent of those guys, but very much on the Alberta independence movement. And that's, if Carney wins, Alberta's leaving. Like, that's, I mean, it's a no-brainer for them to just say, yeah, see you later. Gaetano for 2 says, anyone from anywhere can do anything. Barney song. That's funny. I want to live in a Canada where anyone from anywhere can do anything. And I love you. You love me. Yeah, right. That's where we're going with that. This is how sophisticated our politics are in Canada. Freezer Man 71. Did you get that name during the Freedom Convoy? Did you support them? Did you have your bank accounts frozen? Is that how you got that name? Voted my conscience and voted for the Conservatives. If the Liberals get a 4th term, I want my next vote for an independent British Columbia. Reverse 1871. I don't see that happening with British Columbia. I do see it happening with Alberta, but British Columbia is, wow, like the rural areas are pretty, conservative, but holy cow, my riding, which I thought would probably swing conservative, went green in the provincial election. And I'm not kidding. Like, let's look at the polls here. Don't trust the polls. Hey, we don't trust the polls around here, apparently. But I'm going to have a look at what's happening in the Sea to Sky. Vancouver, Sunshine Coast. What does it look like? Well, it looks like crap. That's what it looks like right now. But you know what? Our candidate has been going to all of the debates, and he's been out there active and doing all the things. And that's why we've got so much faith that he's going to bring it home. IFO connoisseur for $5 says, if PP wins, I might open a computer store and call it Conservative Computers. Yeah, you might you might alienate some people, but for sure, if you think that'll work, that's awesome. Clyde, we were watching PP Nanaimo was off the charts. Welcome back. Welcome back. We were watching it here as well. Oh, unless you were saying that I was watching it. Yeah. Okay. Where are we going with this? Yeah, I just want to say how hard the candidate is working in this riding to win that. Right? Anybody else from the Sea to Sky corridor? Maybe Sunshine Coast, perhaps. How awesome is that? So, but that's just that riding. The rest of Canada looks different. We'll see. We'll see. BC is catching the blue wave. The blue wave is coming. CBC will be crying. British Columbia nurses exposed the government union cabal, arbitration system, fraud. Nobody runs with the real news. They can't handle it. Well, I bring the real news here. And I've had Corinne Maury on several times to talk specifically about that topic, because you're right. You're absolutely right about that. That poll is BS. That poll? This isn't one poll. This is an aggregate of all the polls. So there would have to be a lot of polls. Carney for 5 says 600,000 votes needed in Alberta for separation. Rule votes would be at least 500,000, leaving 100,000 for the Edmonton and Calgary to vote yes. I think that's signatures on a ballot, or signatures on a petition, if I remember that correctly. And Ed is saying, I'm in Edmonton, I would vote yes. Edmonton, really? The odds are less than, or what is that? Minus 600 for Liberals to win. Any thoughts? Less than 600 for the Liberals to win. I'm not sure what you mean by that. No excuse not to have paper ballots in small population like Canada. Speak out to the Elections Canada. We have paper ballots. There's no machines. There's no none of that stuff. It's paper ballots for the federal election. Now it isn't for municipal or provincial elections. Those are decided by the province or the municipality. But no, in Canada's federal election, it's paper ballots. That's how it works. And I would like to know if you voted so far. If you voted, type it in the chat. Tell me you voted. If you haven't voted yet, tell me you haven't voted. Tell me if you're waiting for election day like I am, because I believe that election day should only be on one day. Faye with a $6.99 super chat says Alberta needs to leave regardless who wins the election. Well, let's be blunt here with that one. I voted. Never early vote. Yes, I never do the early vote. I'm voting on election day. Voted. Waiting for election day. Yes. Yes, and yes. If the Conservative win, there's no referendum in Alberta. It's not happening. They're gonna stick around. Like this is I think is pretty much the consensus on the ground, that if the Conservatives win, yeah, it's not gonna, all that 51st state stuff's out the window, all of it done. Voting Monday, voted C. 5 here voted for Pierre. Voted, not yet. We need to leave anyway. I'm all for the balkanization of Canada, for the splitting it up. I just think it would be a better deal. I just don't think that the West gets a good deal. I don't think Quebec is ready to get to work without being their own country. Sween Machine for $2.79 voted open to leave. What does that mean? You voted for Carney? You voted to leave. Will Pierre be able to do enough with a minority government? So let's get into this. That's a great question. That is a fantastic question, and the answer is nope. So at the end of the day, I really was rooting for a conservative supermajority. And this is why. I think that the institutions in Canada are fundamentally broken. And when Pierre comes up and he says Canada is broken, Canada's broken. when the Liberals come out and they say, "How dare you say Canada is broken?" It's broken. It's broken. It's broken in some serious fundamental ways. And I'm not coming to this conclusion recently. I've been looking at this for some time, and I was even on the phone with Vesper today, and we were talking about it, and we were discussing this exactly. And Vesper was like, he's like, "See, do you remember, like, it's got to be like 2 years ago, we were sitting and we were having a chat, we were doing a stream, and we were talking about like just how broken it is and how broken it's been for a long time, and it's only gotten more broken, and you know, this idea of consolidating powers into other places in Canada. This is really what's going on." So the Liberals, they spent 10 years stacking the Senate. They spent all this time stacking the Supreme Court. The judiciary is just full of they're activist judges. I mean, the rulings are just ridiculous. I mean, finding Tamara Lich and Chris Barber guilty of mischief after the government was found to have been in violation of the law to enact the Emergencies Act. True, Clyde, it's broken until they confess that. What then? So this is my thought, right? So the idea here, and this actually the full thought formulated from Frank Vaughan. I got to give credit to him because he was the one who really introduced this idea to me. Because I was like, it's broken. What do you do about it? How do you control that? Sween Machine for 279 voted PP for PM. If not, open to be independent Alberta. Yeah. So the idea here is the best outcome, and this is an outcome to wake up the people, right? Because so many people are asleep. They've been asleep for way too long. And again, why this book was written, Don't Be Canada, how a country did everything wrong all at once. I keep plugging that book. You're welcome, Tristan. I'm not making anything from it. I bought it because I like the title, and I like his work. But my thoughts here are that the best way to wake people up is to give the Conservatives a mandate. And how do you get a mandate? You get the will of the people. You get a majority government. You get into place, and you have them do everything that they can to fulfill the promises that they have given to the populace, right? Give those promises out. And then what happens? Then a liberal activist Senate shuts them down. The bureaucracies shut them down every which way. The judiciary shuts them down. The Supreme Court shuts them down. So they do all these things, and they're working their tails off to make it all happen. And you just watch it get thwarted everywhere, every which way they do it. But they do it in a way that is the will of the people. Because they've got a mandate. And then what does that tell the people? That tells the people we need institutional reform. We need some serious reforms. And then that would give that majority, that supermajority or whatever it is, the carte blanche to get into that and actually start doing some reformations in the country. Now, if they get a minority government, they'll get thwarted the same as if they were a majority government. But then what do? They get put into a situation where they keep getting thwarted, and they're stopped from doing that. They're stopped from doing that. There's a court challenge for that. There's a Supreme Court ruling. There's this and that. And then, well, what do people say? They say, well, it's because you're not a majority government. If you were a majority government, then you'd be able to do that stuff. So there'll always be a cop-out, a way to say, well, it didn't work out because of that. And this is the whole plan, like this whole idea. Get a supermajority. So I hope people are right. I hope these polls are completely off base. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I lose my bet and I buy Marty up north another whiskey bottle. I hope that's the case. Because, I mean, nothing would make me happier. Nothing would make me happier than to see that. But yeah, I would love to see that happen. But what's the result if we get a minority conservative government? I think they try, but it's like they still have the liberal government in place. It's like they would still have that. I'm getting a text from Alex while I'm streaming. He doesn't. I don't even know what he's saying to me, but that's it. How do we fire judges? Great question. Great question. These are things we all need to address. We're gonna need to address this moving forward. Nux for Cup. I believe. Sorry, Nux for Cup for 5 says, I believe the other parties will not allow a conservative minority. They'll band together and create a liberal lead coalition. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. I mean, look at what they've done with Jagmeet Singh, and let's not beat around the bush. Jagmeet Singh and Blanchett are on the hook for the fact that if the Liberals get voted back in. They got the Liberals voted back in because it was all of their timing that caused this. If they would have just let it go, and of course, Jagmeet Singh, he's happy. He's happy. He's bragging about it. But Blanchett, he's gonna be like, no. I don't like the Liberals. I'm just looking out for Quebecers, and no. You were looking out for yourself. That's what you were looking out for. That's absolutely what you were looking out for. Freezer Man for 5 says, Canada can't be fixed, but it needs to be broken up. A Liberal victory will speed up the process. Ebbie is the premier of the Lower Mainland. BC is screwed. I don't disagree with you. Fire a judge? Pick your. Yeah, no, it's not happening. Republic of Western Canada. Well, it'd be. Technically, it's kind of like central Western Canada, I guess. It'll be one of those. Yeah, it'll be one of those. Blanchett hates Carney, but Blanchett is the reason for Carney. If it weren't for Blanchett, then it would be Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre right now. So Blanchett is the reason for Carney. It's hard to take, but it's the truth you speak tonight, Clyde. I know. Here's the thing. I'm a terrible liar, and I'm not much of a cheerleader. Like the pom-pom thing. I've told people this for months and years, actually. Don't expect me to be the pom-pom guy. I'm not going to do the pom-pom thing. So, I mean, I'm all for telling you what I actually think or believe. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could be wrong. How so, Clyde? To which point? There's so many points I just made. Canada is already broken. Let's just make it official. Lying is bad. But people do it all the time. They do it to make people feel good. They do it all the time. I'm a cynical optimist. By the way, I think I missed one of your chats. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Bean. Sorry. For 5 says a strong conservative PM could get things done even with a slim majority. Democrats doing it and liberals do it. Conservative politicians are timid. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't want to rock the boat. I'm just going to do the thing. that I said I wouldn't do. Don't want to come across as too conservative to all those Canadians out there. Perhaps they wouldn't vote for me. We've been talking about this too ad nauseum over the past several weeks. This has largely been the thing. But I do want to talk about, like, so in the sake of letting the stream go long, it is what it is. I want to cover what I was talking about this morning in my video. Maybe some of you caught it. Maybe some of you did not catch it. But this was a tweet that I put out. Because I genuinely believe this. I genuinely believe this. This is the interference. You may recognize the logo there. I said, with all the talks of who might or might not be interfering with the election, how has CBC and all the government established media or government subsidized media stayed under the radar? You kidding me? We're talking about China. We're talking about Russia. We're talking about who else? Iran, India. What about the people who are paid by the government? So there is a clear conflict of interest in allowing them to cover this election. One candidate promises to increase their budget, and the other promises to remove all of their funding. This puts them at odds. This really does. I thought this video was bang on today. Thank you, Nux for Cup. Thank you. India. Yes, India is influencing our election. They're trying to anyway. Did you see the documentary that the Blender News dropped today about China influencing Canada? No, I didn't see that. They're great. I love Blender News, but did not see that. I will check it out. But they're in obvious, clear conflict of interest. I think that they should recuse themselves of being involved in election debates, all of these stuffs, punditry, all of that stuff, unless they want to register as part of the Liberal Party, and then their funding would be way over budget for what they're allowed to do. But this is the reality. So, when one candidate is saying we're going to get rid of that spending, and one candidate is saying we're going to give it, they're in conflict of interest. Clyde, I say again, you are great. So much truth on this. Thank you. The fact that they're still able to broadcast, host debates, choose which ads run and when is a slap in the face to election integrity. This is absurd. This is absurd that this agency, not just the CBC, but all of them are so involved in this. Now, you listen to their coverage and they talk about Pierre Poilievre and what his points are. Listen to this.
Kate McKenna in Mississauga, Ontario. Now, Poilievre is also planning cuts to be able to afford his plan. First, he intends to defund the CBC, something he has long promised. He's also promised increasing cuts to government consultants, saving up to $10 billion. And he would end what he calls foreign aid to, quote, dictators, terrorists, and global bureaucracy by up to $3 billion.
So, Kosher, I would disagree with you there. And, it is a government department. But what I would emphasize is that it's a liberal government department. So it is an extension of the Liberal Party for all intents and purposes, because with the advent of this campaign. Now, in other campaigns, you could have argued, well, no, they're trying to be impartial. Just like, what do? They're just funded by the government. But in this case, they are clearly being told your funding is over. If this guy gets in, your funding is getting increased. If this other guy gets in, they should not be allowed to be in this space. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 5 says, who was the last great conservative PM? I've been lucky. I've lived through 2 great Republican presidents, Reagan and Trump. Well, a lot of people will say Stephen Harper, and for a lot of good reasons. But I mean, I'll also say I didn't like Harper for certain reasons. Trans-Pacific Partnership, opening the door to a lot of Chinese stuff. A lot of that Chinese stuff that's been happening started under Harper. So there's that. Yeah, but I mean, he was a fiscal conservative. I do appreciate that. Why he was so hard-headed on the pot issue really killed the party for 10 years. So there's also that. I mean, that's the thing. But anyway, looking at this coverage, defund the CBC is the very top of their list. Do you think it would be like third or fourth? They couldn't even be humble about it? A little humble pie, perhaps? No, you have it at the very top of the issue. Now, I got into a couple articles today, and these are fantastic articles. One was by the reformedperspective.ca, and the other article is by MacDonald-Laurier.ca, MLI. So that's the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. So let's get into this. Millions distributed to Canada's legacy media during the election campaign. While the media was covering the federal election, newly formed Canadian Journalism Collective, the Journalism Collective.
You're not even a real journalism. That's right.
That's right. That's right. The Journalism Collective. The Canadian Journalism Collective. That's right. You're not even a real journalism. Started its first handouts of cash from the enormous pot of $100 million that is now mandated to give to the Canadian news outlets each year. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Meme review. Let's go over this. So where did that come from? I'm just going to keep playing this one back because I'm sorry, the Canadian Journalism Collective.
You're not even a real journalism.
You are not even a real journalism.
That's right.
That's right. You're not. The funding comes from the money that Google was required to pay in order to comply with the Liberal government's Bill C-18, the Online News Act, which passed through the Parliament in 2023. It was rammed through, by the way. It was rammed through the government. It was rammed through the Senate by Liberal activist senators. As revenue has dwindled for the legacy media, the Liberal government has been very motivated to step in with their own funding, both directly and indirectly, in addition to the $1.4 billion in annual funding for the CBC. It provided $885 million of other media handouts in the past 5 years, and also gave out all of this $100 million that was collected by the Canadian Journalism Collective. Say it to me with me, folks.
You're not even a real journalism. That's
right. That's right. You're not even a real journalism. You are the Canadian Journalism Collective. The Hub, a relatively new media organization which doesn't support government funding, reached out to Canada's largest legacy media companies to ask if they received any of this money, how much they got, and whether they would be willing to disclose this during the election campaign. None of the organizations would commit to this. Oh, why not? Why wouldn't they commit to it? Perhaps because
you're not even a real journalism. That's right.
I'm going to have so much fun with this. Just hold on to your hats, folks. This is last year, Reformed Perspective turned down an opportunity to receive a substantial funding from the Special Measures for Journalism. I'm not going to do the clip yet. A component of the Canada Periodical Fund. By God's grace, our readers not only covered all of our bills, they provided the means for us to grow our circulation and expand our team. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being the means through which we continue to celebrate God's truth without being beholden to the government. This is awesome. This is awesome. I love reading this kind of thing because it's coming from people, not from these government agencies. Now, from the Macdonald-Laurier Institute, or macdonald-laurier.ca, government subsidies for Canada's media were supposed to be temporary, but they kept on growing and could be here to stay. Now, I talked about this earlier, and I've talked about this many, many times. Many, many times. There is nothing more permanent than a government temporary measure. Do the thing, Clyde. Well, just wait for it. Just wait for it. So this is, I mean, we have to always be reminded of this again and again and again. We're reminded of this, that when the government comes in and says, it's just we just need it. It's an interim thing until we get the other thing going. And we're just going to chip 80 years later, it's still there. I mean, seriously, seriously, everything that they do temporary is there forever. Anytime they come to the table with something temporary, it's always because there's an emergency. And anytime that there's an emergency, they pass emergency measures that are temporary. And then those measures stay forever. Let's remember that. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Just how free and trusted can Canada's media be if they're dependent on government subsidies? Isn't that interesting? Are they real journalism?
You're not even a real journalism.
No, they're not even a real journalism.
That's right.
That's right. That's right, folks.
You're not.
They're not. They're not. Absolutely not. So, as we enter the final weeks of the federal election campaign, it has become clear that Canada's new media have a major financial stake in its outcome. A major financial stake in its outcome. Mere weeks before the election was called, the Canadian Journalism Collective began distributing the $100 million that Google is required to pay for news organizations under the Online News Act. Who? Let's say it again. The Canadian Journalism Collective.
You're not even a real journalism. That's right.
That's right. That's right. It was them. And this $100 million payola is a thing. Is a thing that Google agreed to do. Now, what did other agencies do? You know, we had Meta. Meta just said, can't have links on our website. Boo-hoo. Now, what was the actual... Okay, so Bill C-18, let's just get into it real quick. What actually happened with Bill C-18? Bill C-18 was a requirement to any social media company, because you understand, a social media company under the DMCA, that's correct, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, Section 230 of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, they're granted status as a platform. It's a different status than being a publisher. So if you're a publisher, like, yeah, you worry about what's said on your website. You could be sued over all these things. You're liable for all of these things. Well, Canada went outside that. And they said, no. If you have news articles that are linked on your website, not only are you liable for it, but you have to pay those companies that put their links on, that their links are on your website. I mean, all a company would have to do is just spam their link like crazy, and like, payday. Like, what business model is that? What perverse incentives does that create? Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 5 says, Reagan had a great joke where the 8 most frightening words in the English language. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That's absolutely correct. So based on this incentive, what do you think would happen? Oh, so if a user puts a link on the website that links to a news article, the website has to pay money to the news article website, or the owners of that. Well, what happens? They just say, okay, those links they're not going to work on our website. We're just going to make it so those links don't work. End of story. So what happened on Meta? No Canadian news. And it had to be accredited news agencies in Canada. So it had to be something that was accredited. So those news agencies, nada. What did I make a prediction of? I said, real journalists, like actual journalists, not the ones from like the CBC.
You're not even a real journalism. That's right.
That's right. You're not even a real journalist. I'm talking about people like Rupa Subramanya. She's fantastic. She's a great journalist. right? She's a proper journalist. What did she do? She went and she works for an American company writing about Canadian news now. And you know what? That company is able to put their stuff on Facebook. And they're seriously, it's legit. If you want to share news stories that are American news outlets, you can on Facebook, on Meta. You're totally fine. Just not Canadian news companies, especially your accredited ones. So what's been happening? Well, a bunch of good journalists are just going, I'm out. Just like people are saying in that poll up top. I'm out. Knocks for cup for $5. So the downfall of Canada is Google's fault? Hold on. If they held their ground, no CBC on YouTube, can't Google CBC, it would die instantly. So I don't know about that so much. So what Google, I think the game that Google was playing was like, well, this is kind of untenable because we're not really putting links on our website. We're just a search engine. We're just an aggregate search engine. So their choice was ban Canadian news companies from the search engine or make negotiations. And they tried to make negotiations, and the Canadian government was just like, nope. And let me tell you, $100 million for Google is just nothing. Now, they didn't make that choice lightly, because realistically, any other country can just make these same stupid laws and shake down Google for money, shake down Meta for money and all this other stuff. But obviously, with what Meta did, that's not very much of an incentive. What Google did is a bit of an incentive, but $100 million is really not that much money to a company like Google. So let's be honest. So Google is just like, go away. You know, that was their response to what is it? The Canadian Journalism Collective.
You're not even a real journalism. That's right.
That's right. They're not even a real journalism. But let's go on with the story. So after that, $100 million is required to pay news organizations under the Online News Act. This is in addition to the tens of millions in government subsidies that the Liberal government has earmarked for news outlets in recent years. While Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre previously criticized the Liberals' new policy, it's no longer clear that he would eliminate them, having recently suggested a Conservative government would fund local news media. As Peter Menzies noted in The Hub, this election isn't about whether the news organizations get government support or not. Instead, it's about how they get it. Now, I think Pierre walked that back at some point, and yeah, I don't think that was completely accurate. It was really about no. He definitely said he was gonna get rid of Bill C-18. So the Google's $100 million gone. That's off the table. All of that stuff. And with it, the Canadian Journalism Collective.
You're not even a real journalism. That's right.
I'm sorry, I can't say the name of that organization without putting that up there. I'm not making any claims, but I'm just saying that they're not even a real journalism. Amid this obvious conflict of interest, this deep dive seeks to do two things. First, it catalogs a myriad of government policies that directly or indirectly subsidize private news outlets in Canada. Second, it explores how News Media Canada, the industry's main advocacy group, has publicly lobbied for increased government support over the last several years, including on the eve of the election. Wow. Why would there be any conflict of interest in that whole ordeal? Could there ever be a thing? Their advocacy has succeeded as temporary programs have become permanent, and federally mandated funds for journalism.
You're not even a real journalism.
No, you're not. For journalism. Where was I? For journalism have expanded. However, it has become an enormous cost to journalistic objectivity and independence. We have arrived at the scenario many predicted, with newspapers openly advocating for preferential treatment praising the governments that fund them and failing to disclose their entitlements. That's right. And I would go further and I would say that openly advocating against the foe of the current government in place. That would be campaigning against Pierre Poilievre, saying things like, he's so scary, he's like Donald Trump. This kind of thing, even though Donald Trump has been doing a lot of things that may seem terrible to a lot of Canadians in the moment, but long term, if we got rid of the dairy lobby, if we got rid of supply management, if we got rid of any of that stuff, then that would be very helpful for a lot of Canadians. That's really where we're at. You're not even a real far-right extremism. Dickie Holmes, I love that. Thank you so much for that. Shut down Ottawa, free the West. Yeah, that would be a very enticing thing. Counting the countless government programs. Canada is not the only country to fund private news media through various government mechanisms. A European Union report written in 2023 included the Canadian government's per capita spending on private news media was actually lower than the EU average. Wow, I wonder why things have gone so shitty over there in recent years. That's interesting. Although the study preceded the implementation of the Online News Act and appears to have omitted the Canadian journalism labor tax credit from its calculations. That's another thing. Nevertheless, the pace in which Canada subsidizes its new media is staggering, with a recent report estimating the federal government will spend $325 million in 2024-2025 between the Canadian Media Fund, $154 million, the Canadian Periodical Fund, the Canadian Journalism Labor Tax Credit. Sorry, that's not spending money. That's not collecting money. And the Local Journalism Initiative. This in addition to the roughly $1.4 billion a year federal subsidy to CBC, which Prime Minister Mark Carney has promised to increase by $150 million if the Liberals are reelected. Again, how do we not see this as a complete, absolute conflict of interest? How is it that the CBC is not at the top of the list of influential influencers in this space? It's unbelievable. I mean, I could keep going. I'd love to I'll leave the article for you guys. The article's in the link to today's video. Go check that out. This is, I mean, you can't talk about this enough. You can't talk about this enough, because what do? They come to the table, and this is the kind of stuff when enough people get in, they work their tails off, like Alex Zoltan, we talked about him at the beginning of the show, works his tail off to go and actually ask a question to Prime Minister Mark Carney. This is what the CBC says about this.
Then the leader spoke post-debate in those scrums. What did you hear from those scrums?
The post-debate scrums were dominated by right-wing media groups who flooded leaders with questions on topics unrelated to the debate. One did ask Carney if he felt Trudeau was a good prime minister. Carney said that he was, and that they have shared values, including taking care of Canadians, reconciliation, and equality. But
then the leaders,
far right, extreme, blah 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 blah. This is their thing. Can we say the far left, extreme, tax pay for wing of the Liberal Party, CBC News, Radio Canada? This is really where we're at with this. So I want to encourage more people to speak out openly about this, that this is they are the Liberal Party. This is the Liberal Party. This is not the Liberal Party. And if they wanted to distance themselves, now I had a great journalist who's a friend of mine reach out to me after the story today, and he said this. This is Jeff Sanders. I've had him on the show. He's fantastic. He said, Clyde, Jeff Sanders here. Some insight on your post about the Canadian news media election interference. I know they're biased, but I disagree that they shouldn't cover the campaigns. what we're supposed to do when we have a conflict of interest is to disclose that perceived conflict. It might be someone we interview is a family member, or perhaps we're covering a controversial story, or on rental homes and we have a rental home ourselves. That what they should be doing is disclosing that part of their funding they should be disclosing that part of their funding from the federal government each time they report, every time they report on something in the news. If you catch my drift, in my experience, the worst offenders in cable media ranked number 1, CTV, long-running defending champion, CBC, Global News, number 3. So think about how, so this is the whole idea, is that before they open their mouth, every time they open their mouth, just so you know, our funding comes from the federal government. Anyway, here's the story. And while I tell you the story, before I give you this factoid, you need to know that the government funds every operation that we do. And before I tell you about what Mark Carney said and our rebuttal to that of what Pierre Poilievre says, and before I tell you that Pierre Poilievre is Trump-like, let me tell you that the Liberal government is the ones that secured our funding for tonight's program. That would be really funny. That would be really funny. So, Mark Sanders, thank you so very much for that funny perspective on that whole thing. I digress. I digress on this whole thing. It's way too funny. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Join us after the stream in the Discord community. Discord community is available to everybody for free. The link will be popped up in the, hey, is the Discord link working? Somebody tell me in the chat if it's working. Solar, can you pop another Discord link in there? Let me know if that link is working. If it's not working, we'll get you a new link. Absolutely. And we'll get more people in here available to join. I don't know if it's working. Let me know if the link is working. In the meantime, we're going to go over this the poll that we did. So we're going to end the poll. What does the poll say? Are you done with Canada? 55% of the chat says yes. 44% say nope. Not done. Not done at all. Fabulous, Clyde. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. We roll tomorrow. Check us out. Alex Zoltan. We're going to be streaming again. We're going to chat about all this stuff, all the fun stuff. Get Alex in here. And we're going to be doing this website breaking, apparently a money laundering scheme from Mark Carney, breaking from Rebel News. Okay, I'll have to check that out later. The Discord link better work. If it's working, it's working. Yeah, it seems like it's working. All right, folks. It's been a slice. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you over there in the Discord. If we don't see you in the Discord, we'll see you tomorrow night with Alex Zoltan. If we don't see you tomorrow night, we'll see you throughout the weekend. There's going to be videos popping up on the channel, and we'll definitely see you on Monday for the electoral stream. It's going to be a whole day event. It's going to be a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. We're kind of a big deal. So get on over, check it out. You won't regret it. You'll have a lot of fun. Lots of laughs to be had. Get yourself some wobbly pops, and we're going to enjoy this time. Everybody, for the sake of everything happening tonight, keep on trekking.